thought I knew boundaries. I thought I knew right from wrong. But that night, when my friend's dad leaned closer and whispered something I'll never forget, my entire world shifted. What started as an innocent moment turned into the kind of memory that still haunts me to this day. I never thought my boundaries would be tested in such a dangerous way. I never thought betrayal could creep into my life through someone I trusted, someone I should have seen as family. But it happened. And it all began with words spoken by my friend's dad that I will never ever forget. Growing up, I practically lived at my best friend's house. Her family was like a second family to me. Her mom treated me kindly, her siblings teased me like I was one of their own, and her dad, well, he was always around, always smiling, always offering to drive us places or help with school projects. I thought of him as a protective figure, someone who looked out for us. But as the years went on, I started noticing things, subtle things that at first I brushed off as nothing. The way his eyes lingered on me a little too long. The way his compliments carried a weight I didn't fully understand. He never crossed a line, not really, but the tension was there, hiding under casual words and fatherly smiles. It wasn't until one summer evening that everything shifted. My friend had gone upstairs to grab something, and I was alone in the kitchen with him. I thought nothing of it until he leaned against the counter, his voice low, and said something that made my heart race, something that didn't sound like a father figure at all. I froze, my lips parting, unsure how to respond. It wasn't just the words, it was the way he said them, the way his eyes locked onto mine like he was daring me to react. That moment, that sentence, it changed everything between us. I remember my heart thudding, so loudly in my chest I was sure he could hear it. His words weren't just casual, they carried a weight, a meaning that went far beyond a compliment. It was something no friend's dad should have ever said, something that cut through the boundary of trust one thought we shared. I laughed nervously at first, trying to brush it off, pretending I hadn't really understood. But deep down, I knew exactly what he meant. And the way his eyes lingered on me told me he knew I understood too. When my friend came back downstairs, the moment evaporated into thin air. He greeted her like nothing had happened, his voice steady, his expression calm. I sat there, shaken, my stomach twisted in knots. I wanted to tell her, to say something, but how could I? What would it even sound like? Hey, your dad just said something to me that I can unhear. From that night on, everything felt different. Whenever I was at their house, I caught him watching me. Subtle glances, a faint smirk when no one else was paying attention. And every time, I told myself I was imagining it, that maybe I was reading too much into it. But the truth was I wasn't. One evening, weeks later, I stayed over at my friend's house for a movie night. Her mom had gone to bed early, her siblings were out, and we were sprawled in the living room watching something we weren't really paying attention to. At some point, she dozed off beside me, her soft breathing filling the silence. And that's when I felt it, the shift in the room, the sense that someone else was there. I looked up and saw him standing in the doorway, his eyes fixed on me. The same look I'd seen before, but now bolder, heavier, as if he wasn't trying to hide it anymore. The flicker of the TV was the only light in the room, casting shadows across his face. For a moment, I thought maybe he'd say something casual, ask if we needed snacks or a blanket. But he didn't. He just stood there, watching me. My friend slept peacefully at my side, unaware of the storm brewing just a few feet away. He finally stepped into the room, slow and deliberate, as if each footstep was a choice he had already made. My pulse quickened, my throat dry, and yet I couldn't look away. He lowered his voice, careful not to wake his daughter. "You know," he said softly, "you've grown into a beautiful woman." The words sent a chill down my spine, not because they were shocking on their own, but because of the way he said them, the intimacy, the intent. He wasn't talking to me like a father figure anymore. He was talking to me like a man. I wanted to move, to shake my friend awake, to leave the room and pretend none of it was happening. But instead, I sat frozen, caught between fear, confusion, and something else I didn't want to admit, curiosity. When he came closer, the couch dipped slightly under his weight as he sat down on the other side of me. I shifted, trying to put some space between us, but not enough to break the unspoken connection that pulsed in the air. He leaned in, his words barely above a whisper. "You remember what I said before, don't you?" My lips parted, but no sound came out. I bit down on them nervously, my heart hammering. Because, yes, I remembered. I remembered every word, every look. And now here he was, daring me to acknowledge it. I could feel the warmth of him even before he touched me, the kind of presence that makes the air feel heavy. My friend shifted in her sleep beside me, rolling over without a clue of what was happening just a few inches away. The contrast made my stomach twist, the innocence of her sleep, and the danger of what I was caught in. He leaned closer, his breath brushing against my ear. "You don't have to be afraid," he whispered. The tone of his voice was soft, reassuring, but layered with something darker, something I knew I shouldn't want to hear. My body tensed, but I didn't move away. Instead, I bit down on my lip, trying to mask the rush of emotions flooding me, fear, excitement, guilt, and a forbidden pull I couldn't deny. His hand brushed lightly against mine, just a graze, but it sent a shiver racing up my arm. I should have pulled away. I should have woken my friend, broken the spell, reminded myself of all the lines I was about to cross. But I didn't. I stayed. When I finally turned to look at him, his eyes locked on mine, steady and unflinching. There was no fatherly kindness there anymore. It was raw, deliberate, and heavy with intent. And instead of resisting, I let the silence speak for me. For the first time, I realized I wasn't just a bystander in this. I wasn't just caught in his choices. I was making my own. And those choices, they terrified me. The silence between us felt louder than any sound. My chest rose and fell in uneven breaths, my thoughts tangled in a storm of guilt and desire. I kept telling myself to move, to say something, to stop this before it went any further. But my body betrayed me. He leaned closer, his shoulder brushing mine, the heat of his presence swallowing up every inch of space I had tried to keep. I could smell the faint trace of cologne mixed with something stronger, something that reminded me I wasn't supposed to be here, not like this. His hand found mine again, this time firmer, not just a graze. His fingers closed around mine as though asking a question without words, and I answered by not pulling away. My lips trembled, and I bit down on them, fighting the war raging inside me. When he spoke, his voice was low and certain. I meant what I said. You'll never forget this. The weight of his words sank deep inside me. It wasn't just a warning, it was a promise. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure it would wake my friend, but she remained curled up, lost in dreams, completely unaware. I turned my face away for a moment, staring at the floor, but his hand tilted my chin back toward him. Our eyes met again, and this time I didn't look away. And in that second I knew, if I didn't stop it now, I never would. The weight of his hand under my chin held me still, like I was suspended between two worlds, the one where I stayed loyal to everything I knew was right, and the one where I let myself drown in the danger of his gaze. I should have pushed him away. My mind screamed it over and over, but my body didn't listen. Instead, I stayed frozen, my pulse racing in my throat, my lips tingling with the nearness of what I knew he wanted. He leaned in closer, so close I could feel the warmth of his breath brushing against my skin. My heart slammed against my chest, panic and anticipation mixing until I couldn't tell which was stronger. I bit my lip again, harder this time, like I could hold myself back with the sting of it. But when his thumb brushed gently across my lower lip, it shattered whatever thin control I still thought I had. For a second, I looked at my friend, sleeping just inches away, wrapped in an innocence I was about to betray. The sight made my stomach twist, but it didn't stop me. It only made the moment heavier. He whispered my name, his voice rough and deliberate, and something inside me gave way. I didn't pull back. I didn't speak. I just sat there, trembling, letting the gravity of the moment pull me closer to him, even though I knew I was already too far gone. Time felt like it had slowed, every sound amplified, the hum of the TV, the steady rhythm of my friend's breathing, and the pounding of my own heart echoing in my ears. His thumb still rested against my lip, lingering, waiting for me to make the choice he knew I'd already made. And when I didn't move away, when I didn't stop him, that silence became my answer. He leaned in closer, and I let him. My breath caught, my body trembling as if caught in a storm I'd been pretending wasn't coming. His face hovered just inches from mine, his eyes locked on me with an intensity that burned straight through my last shred of resistance. I should have ended it there. I should have pushed him back, shaken my friend awake, run out the door. But instead, I tilted my head ever so slightly, an invitation I didn't mean to give, but one I couldn't take back. The moment his lips brushed against mine, it was like crossing a threshold I could never return from. Soft at first, testing, but full of the promise of something darker, deeper. My body stiffened, then melted all at once, betraying me completely. I didn't push him away. I didn't even try. And in that instant I knew, whatever happened next would change everything. The kiss deepened, and every ounce of restraint I thought I had dissolved in seconds. My body responded before my mind could even catch up, as though it had been waiting for this forbidden moment all along. I could feel the weight of his hand sliding against mine, firm, steady, claiming me without hesitation. Every nerve in my body screamed that this was wrong, but the heat flooding through me said something else entirely. Just a few feet away, my friend stirred in her sleep, shifting under the blanket, and I froze, my heart leaping into my throat. For a terrifying moment, I thought she might wake up, but she didn't. She rolled over, sighing softly, then settled back into her dreams. That tiny reminder of where we were, of who he was, should have stopped me. It should have jolted me back into reality. But instead, it only made my chest tighten, my pulse race faster. The risk of it, the danger, wrapped itself around me like fire. When his lips left mine for a second, hovering just close enough to tease, he whispered, "I told you you'll never forget this." And he was right, because in that moment, as I leaned back into him instead of pulling away, I knew this wasn't something I could erase. I was in too deep, and there was no turning back. The weight of his words hung in the air, sinking deeper with every second. My lips still tingled from his touch, my body still humming with a heat I had no right to feel. I knew what we had just done could never be undone. And yet, instead of stopping, I found myself leaning into him. Each second felt stolen, like we were dancing on the edge of a blade. The guilt was sharp, cutting through me with every breath, but so was the thrill. And for reasons I couldn't admit, I clung to the thrill, even as it burned me from the inside out. My friend stirred again, and the sound nearly broke me. I pulled back, panic rising in my chest, and for a heartbeat I thought the whole world would come crashing down right there in that living room. But she didn't wake. She simply turned, sighing, lost in dreams she would never want to know the truth about. I looked at him, my chest tight, my throat dry. He didn't say anything else. He didn't have to. The look in his eyes told me everything. This wasn't an accident, and it wasn't something that would fade away tomorrow. When I finally pulled away for good, my hands were trembling. I knew I had crossed a line I could never uncross. That night carved itself into me, etched in a place I could never erase. And no matter how much I tried to bury it, one truth remained. I didn't push him away. I let it happen, and that choice would haunt me forever.